Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Talking Skritt podcast, brought to you by Gamebreaker Nation. I'm your host, John, better known as Deo around Yak Spend on Guild Wars 2. We have a fantastic show for you today. First-hand accounts with ArenaNet at PAX, EGX, and Guild Wars 2's Borderlands maps, and the stability patch, Unstable, and so much more. But first, let me introduce to you our fellow hosts. Up first, a man who has found a million ways to die in the West. Say hello to Jim.
I still don't look like Ryan Reynolds. Stop it.
No, that's my new thing now. I'm going to find Ryan Reynolds movies.
Hi, everybody.
And a writer of Gamebreaker TV, member of the GBN Guild, and friend of the show. Say hello to PAX Case Zero, Robin.
Hey. Roar.
How charming. Huh? Okay.
I like it.
And last but not least, a writer for Guild Mag, a massive lore hound. Say hello to Aaron.
I'm totally not wearing the same shirt as Robin. That's not a thing that's happening at all right now. Did not happen.
Maybe you were wearing the same shirt, right?
I had to work for mine. I had to work for mine.
We're doing the back and forth comparison.
They are different, for the record. They are different. Hers has a thing on the back, and mine has a thing on the front.
Hers has a thing on the back, but it has a different thing on the back.
Are we really arguing about clothing?
Yes.
Okay.
Important.
Fashion week. Well, I mean, to be fair, Guild Wars 2, I mean,
it's always
all about how
it's
you
always
look.
about the fashion, I know, right?
You know, in the end, that's the end game. You got to look fabulous. All right, and let's first jump into last week was PAX. Of course, we kind of do the show, you know, every day, or not every day, every week, Saturday, 1 p.m. Pacific time, which was right when they were kind of doing all the PAX stuff, which was very helpful. But our one of our hosts here was actually there and actually got to talk with some developers, got a hands-on demo, and now we're going to be grilling her with questions. So basically the article, if you haven't checked it, it's over at Gamebreaker Nation, or Gamebreaker TV, sorry. I'm so used to plugging Gamebreaker Nation.
Trying to sneak a plug in there.
Wow.
Oh, jeez. Overall, it goes through a major emphasis on guilds, and then actually getting the hands-on with the demo. I kind of first want to talk about. You made mention that they were emphasizing guilds more so, and actually making it a pillar of the game, which I guess is good because that's always the one criticism, like, oh, you know, this is Guild Wars.
Well, yeah, during the interview, I asked them about what they have planned in terms for guilds aside from the guild halls, because so far all they announced was guild halls. And Colin said, you know, we're not ready to really talk about that because they have their whole thing about not talking about stuff till it can show us things, which is a good idea, but I want to know all the things now. So, but he did say that they have a lot planned for guilds, and they're looking at, specifically, he was looking at ways for guilds to be able to work together and coordinate together to do things together, make being a part of a guild a bigger part of the game really mean something and be really important. And another thing he mentioned was giving guilds a space where they can do kind of non-standard events and stuff. I mentioned like how we do like random things like Kildeo or whatever. And
why is that the only one that sticks out in your mind?
Because it's the best one. So yeah, he said they've got a lot coming in that realm, and to, you know, stay tuned, and when they are ready to announce and really focus on what they have with guilds, they're going to have a lot to put out there. So I'm excited and hopeful. I'm kind of hoping the thing about the making it easier for guilds to coordinate and work together might be guild alliances or whatever, or something along those lines. But I didn't say that per se.
And for people that don't know what guild alliances are, they were in Guild Wars 1, of course. It was just a faction, in Guild Wars Factions, which was one of the standalone / expansions, whatever you want to call it, that there was these two warring factions, Luxon and Kurzik, and your guild got to pick those, and then you could form alliances within those factions with other guilds that were same faction, and I think it could do up to 10 guilds.
10, yeah.
And then there would be like an alliance chat, so it was almost like a massive guild, but you also got to keep your guild's individuality.
Well, and it was also something that guilds that exceeded the member limit would use, because in Guild Wars 1 the member limit was 100, so people would just have like an alliance of 10 guilds all with the same name and tag. So
that would be helpful for like Tequatl Terror Squad and some of those bigger world versus world guilds too, for all those things. That would be awesome.
I was just gonna say, if you just do it alone on like, because what I think the cap is 500 for Guild Wars 2.
I think so.
So yeah, if you could do 10 for that, like you're saying with Tequatl Terror Squad, or there's a specialized one for later on down the road.
Well, and it would make it might help, like, I don't know how people feel about it, but it might help with people who are in 5 guilds, but you can only rep 1 guild. If you were in maybe an alliance with the other guilds, you could still communicate them through alliance chat and rep the guild you want to rep.
That would be very helpful.
I'm still not a huge fan of the multi-guild thing, but heck, that's a topic.
I know, I'm a 1 guild kind of guy. Like, I would give up my guild storage. Like, my storage guild, I would give that up for just singular guilds.
I wouldn't be okay with that. I like not having to choose.
Well, no, but that's the problem, is you have to choose.
Well, I don't like that you can only see one guild's chat.
It's like you have to choose, but you don't have to choose. It's this weird like limbo area of there being guilds for an individual and there not being, and you only getting one choice. It's just weird. Like
you have to choose, just the guilds that you're not choosing can see that you're not choosing them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's actually interesting. It's like, I want to let you guys know that I do want to be with you guys, but I want to also let you know when I'm not playing with you guys. Like, they can see your name. It's like,
we know you're
online. I actually never thought of it like that. Like,
they can see you're betraying them.
And apparently, a manuscript for the Quaggan Wars series is, the titles are being worked out currently in chat.
Yeah.
But yeah, like what other things, because you do mention support for like non-standard type events, and it seems like they're really looking to make guilds more important. What other things would all of us like to see cleaned up better? I know. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I know for me personally, for running the guild and stuff, I'd like to have a way where we could just I know it could be abused, but like mass, like, because when we announce events or something like, hey, we're doing this an hour, I can do it easily in guild chat, but like letting the other people in those other 5 guild, in their other guilds, whisper, copy the thing.
Kind of like a mass whisper kind of thing.
Yeah, or doing like a mass mailing or something along those lines. But
well, I think I have to hope that anything that they do will address the issues with multi guilds and not being able to see the guild chat of those you're repping. Like, I feel like if they don't address that in some way, they really are kind of missing the ball with it, because that's a huge issue. Especially if you're in multiple guilds that are pretty active in different areas or whatever. You have to kind of manually switch between them if you log on at a random time just to see who's around and if anybody's up for anything, or like randomly whispering people. When if you're in a guild with these people, you should be able to easily talk to all of them, So I have to imagine that they will address that in some way.
And like one thing I actually saw, like this is probably earlier on in the years, they were talking, someone was actually saying like, could we possibly be able to see all of them, but also set different colors to it, because you'd never want to accidentally be talking to your Tequatl guild with...
The only issue I can see with that is being able to type. So they'd have to set up variable, you can be in what, 5 guilds? Yeah, they'd have to set up /G 1 through 5, I guess, and then have different colors for it. So
Well, or they
So
could do like different panels, and then like when conversation happens in one, it could like light up or something.
Well, that's
by
something you
switching
have to
it.
have the channel. That's something you can always split out stuff.
Sure.
Like I have a chat window that is literally everything but map chat. So for obvious reasons, but
Map chat is great.
sometimes it's really freaking annoying, but you would have to have the underlying channels in order to be able to split that out like that.
Yeah, that's true.
So it'd have to be like /G1 through 5, and that's the only way I can think of them being able to do it. I mean, it's a good idea. It means you'd actually be able to pay attention to what the hell is going on.
Yep.
Or alliances.
Or alliances.
Or well, that would
or
require-
both.
The
We can
only
do
issue
both.
the only issue then is, are all of your guilds in the same alliance?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm all for having alliance chat, because obviously if your guilds are allies and it's official, then, you know, there's a perfect reason to have an alliance chat. But
But
Well,
then again, like, it kind of it defeats the purpose of having an alliance if you're in all the alliance guilds. Like,
Yeah.
So.
The
Yeah.
only issue I could see with Alliance and Alliance chat is if you're in some of the World versus World guilds, because since guilds inherently aren't just server based, there could be some crossover, and then you have issues where people on different servers that are fighting each other, if you can always see the chat, that could be an issue.
yeah, and that would also, I mean, I guess you can technically do that right now by going on to like TeamSpeak or something, is you could have someone on another server being like, yep, totally spying for, you know, my guild that's actually on this server. So
Well, I mean, can't you do that with guild chat anyway? Let alone alliance. I mean,
yeah, because you could be on another server. Yeah.
But like you would have to like to do it in game, you would have to rep the one that you're spying on and then switch over to talk to the one that you
Yeah.
wanted.
That's a button click
use.
though. So
Yeah, but I mean, for
It
people
does give
who
them
it
one
really
hoop to
isn't
jump.
matter to do, like that would be noticeable if somebody's like going back and forth, repping out, repping. You're like, what are you doing?
you're being suspicious,
Yeah, specific.
taking them for questioning.
to be fair, there's no chat notification that somebody is switching between repping and not repping, right?
No,
Sure.
you'd literally
But if
have to be
you're-
looking.
If
You'd
you're
have to
like
be watching
John
the
and you
guild
never
list.
take your eyes off the guild panel, then watch out.
Speaking of which, they need better. Another cleaning up thing. They need better allowances for ranks. Like separate some of that stuff out, please.
Better allowances.
Like controls over
permissions.
permissions and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the
Like a
permissions
lot of
are a
it's
bit of a
like,
mess.
hey, these people can invite, but also manage the lower ranks. It's like, can I just have them invite? I don't need them picking
Because
people.
what was it? We were messing around with our ranks, and you said that if anybody is lower than your rank, you can kick them.
Mhm.
Yeah, because we just implemented so people, like all of our members, can invite if they're running around with people and they enjoy playing with them. Throw them an invite. But we had to make it. We had to like finagle it so technically they're lower than trial member, but they have more permissions.
To
But
the
that's
bottom
just
of the
so
barrel,
they
they have
can't.
more permissions.
Yeah.
But that's just so they can't kick all the trial members for whatever reason. But
Yeah, it'd be way better to just have each permission as a checkbox.
yeah.
Mhm.
But there must be some sort of programming conflict with that, or I'm sure they would have done it.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully they're looking into that. Maybe not for hot, maybe for one of the feature updates afterwards, or who knows.
Or before. They said
Or
that there's a bunch of feature updates that are going to be filling the time between now and the expansion, and they've
Well,
only announced 2 so far.
That's
so.
kind of the precedent they've set with the feature packs. I mean, they do the story stuff, and then they do feature packs, and then they do the story stuff, and so that's good. I'm happy that they're still rolling out content, even if it's not necessarily story.
It seems like in lieu of a feature pack, though, we're instead getting incremental features rolled out over time until the expansion comes. So we won't get them dumped in a big pack. It'll
Right,
just
which is good
do it.
because that means they can troubleshoot it, because there's no testing environment like live.
we need to be strung along or we'll quit, right?
Well, no, I mean, like, so the 2 big ones we have so far, the stability changes and the camera changes, and whether you're interested in those changes or not, you have to think about it. Those are fairly sizable changes in themselves, just what it takes to do what
Big
they're doing.
underlying system changes.
Yeah, so for me, those kind of changes, if all of the features that we get in between now and then are big things like that, I kind of like them being individual patches instead of just one giant feature patch with giant things that changes everything all at once. It just feels like a safer way to handle that.
All right.
I just hope that when Heart of Thorns comes out and they implement guild halls, we have so much fat swag to grind for in our guild halls. Dude, I want it all. I want the most epic guild hall like progression pimp my guild hall system, and I'm going to drive you guys like a slave master to get all of it done.
Well, and
Aaron is our fashion designer pretty much. So
yeah.
Well, and that's what I was intrigued by when in the article it's talking about help, like you said, helping guilds that don't do like non-standard type events, like like if it involves guild halls, or maybe there's a separate arena type thing that's for specially these. We don't know, but
yeah, I think it would be something within the guild hall, but like they haven't specifically said, so it could really be either.
Yeah, that's initially how I was thinking, and how I talked about when they announced guild events was like, or not guild events, guild halls was like, oh, we can do our events there and stuff. But for whatever reason, if they decide to make a separate thing that's like, I think I was talking earlier, it'd be great if we had like some kind of like in Halo or some of the newer games where they have like I think Halo's called Forge, where you basically can make a map. Like, granted, that's far gone for what Guild Wars 2 probably wants to do, but some of the things that we could probably manipulate and manage and would just be awesome. But
yeah, I don't know.
Quaggin-shaped Quaggin arena where Quaggin coup at each other.
No.
I don't know how, like, I don't know if the Guild Wars 2 engine is versatile enough for that.
Yeah.
I in the end don't think so, but that'd be like my
creating a 3D world builder like that is a pretty serious undertaking. So
yeah, and that's why this is I don't.
That would be a feature pack in and of itself that would have to be rolled out over several feature packs. So I don't know.
If they made that like an add-on, I would probably like to have access to it. Like if they made like a special package for it, I'd probably pay money for it to be like, an expansion type thing, because that would be an incredible feature.
Like an account add-on.
Yeah.
So, like, one thing I'd love to see in the vein of what we were just talking about as a place where you can go and shenanigans with your guild is, like, kind of a step down from the custom arena and have it just be a guild arena that you can buy for a flat fee, but you don't have to pay monthly or daily for, because I hate paying daily for the frickin' custom arena. It's the worst thing in the world. So I wish
good use out of it, but it's kind of annoying to keep up.
Yeah, like this arena would just be, you buy this arena, it's got all the same options as a custom arena, you just can't open it, like it's automatically locked to guild people and you access it from your guild hall. You can't open it to like other people or anything, it's just a guild thing.
I was gonna say they'd have to make it so, because if it was literally a PvP arena without like just guildies, I would say if they reuse the PvP maps, but there's no tasks, there's no like it's just literally the maps, and it's like a PvE version. Or you could
run a PvP game in it if you wanted to, but you can only do it with guildies.
Like it's skirmishes for your guild. That's it.
But the problem is they're gonna have to make it just different enough so people don't just all use that, and because they do have to probably make a little bit of money off of.
Well, no, because people who use custom arenas to like to run things in PvP, they'll still buy their PvP custom arenas, because there's a lot of people that do that if you go through the arena list. Yeah, Alina list. The arena list in Heart of the Mist. You see a lot of custom arenas that people are just like, yeah, open, come on, bring it on. And you can just hop in and play with whoever owns that custom arena. So they would definitely still be making money off custom arenas. This would be something for people more like us who are like, yeah, we don't really PvP, so...
I mean, we've gotten an officer that wants to try to take it more like a PvP route, which, like I've said, that's just, I'm not a PvPer, but
Well, I have a feeling that like strongholds will be something that particularly appeals to like our guild, where we have a lot of people who PvE and not so much PvP. I can see that will be a map that we would really like and enjoy.
Now, did you get to play Stronghold, Rob?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. How was it?
It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It's a little weird because so it was the first time a lot of people were seeing it, so nobody really knew quite how to do all the things that you did, like where to go, what to do. But and then you also had some people who are used to PvPing who clearly just focused on trying to kill the other people, which will only get you so far in that kind of match. My only concern with playing it is, well, two concerns really. The first one is I think it's the way it's set up right now. It's a little too conducive to condition guardians, rangers, and thieves, because like thieves can sit there and stealth the NPCs to get them easier to their targets to do their thing. That can be a big issue if you especially get a team of thieves. That will cause all kinds of problems. For rangers, there are a lot of places where you can go up on top and just rain down arrows on people, and it's very hard for them to get to you. So I think they would need to address that some. I mean, it was nice and it was fun as a ranger to do that, but like I could see how it would kill the fun for a lot of people. And then, condition guardians feel like they could be a little too strong with taking out the other teams. What's it called?
I was gonna say, I didn't know condition guardians were a thing.
Well, don't they have like one of the highest scaling burns in the game?
Yeah.
I mean, they have a burn, and that's pretty much it, though, isn't it?
But well, no, they have like also some CC abilities and control things that they can do, and those kind of.
I guess those count as conditions.
Yeah, they all fit together. So like, just with that, I don't know. I think they should address it in some way. I don't know what the right answer would be. My other concern is, so since this is their map that is aimed more at PvPers to kind of break them into PvP to get them feel more comfortable with it, which it's set up very well to do. My concern is it's the way when you queue in PvP, there's a list of maps, everybody votes on it. And depending on how many votes each map gets, that's the percentage that the chance to get that map is. So like right now, there's one map that nobody pretty much likes, which is the deathmatch. So nobody ever votes for it, so it never comes up. And I'm afraid that with this, the PvPers might not enjoy the map as much, so they won't vote for it. So then you'll pretty much always have more PvPers versus PvEers queuing. So I feel like this map might not come up enough to really help break the PvEers into PvP. Like it might be too
Isn't
hard
that
for them
something
to
they
get.
said they might be setting up a separate queue for, based on testing?
Possibly. It's not the way, like, it's not definite. I think that's one of the things they'll suss out some in beta to see how it works out. But yeah, I think they're going to have to do something like that, because just putting it in there, but then also making a separate queue, then the question is do you have enough PvEers who want to do it to get a match done, or are you waiting for like 3 hours for a match? Because that will be also another issue. So.
And chat saying Skyhammer is probably still more hated than Courtyard, which is the deathmatch type thing. Which, yeah, I don't see a lot of people going for Skyhammer, but yeah, I think last week's show we were actually talking about that kind of stuff where they're definitely keeping their ear out for what people are going to say about like different queues or same queue for this. Mm-hmm. And I know last week I was saying I'd actually like to see 3 separate queues, and then a queue that would have all of these in case you're like, I really don't care what I want to play. But the other ones are like, I just want to do deathmatch. I just want to do, stronghold. I just want to do, capture points.
Conquest.
conquest.
Yeah.
I always used to call it domination, but
Honestly, I'd be really okay with that because that gives them a lot more leeway to open up new maps for Stronghold and for Deathmatch because there's only going to be the one for each of those types right now. And there's what,
Yeah.
5 or 6 conquest maps?
yeah.
So
So I think that'd be a lot more interesting. What were you saying, Aaron?
I was just saying something like 5. I don't know. I don't PvP.
you did
I
once.
don't know. Right now the nice thing about it is that you queue for PvP and you get in pretty quick. There's not a long wait. So like I said, separating that out might have some unintended consequences with the queuing, and the question is, how are people's patience with how long sitting in a queue? Are they willing to wait, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Going back to the guild thing we were talking about and kind of tying it into Stronghold, I hope, and with GVG, which is kind of what, in Guild Wars 1, which is kind of what Stronghold is based off of, you can invite other guilds to scrimmage against you in your guild hall, and I hope that they do that with Stronghold.
well, they have confirmed that, so in the main PvP queue, it will be set teams against teams, like a set size, but they have said that the way they have it set right now, as a guild, you can set up your own thing and let people come in, and you can have as many as 30 versus 30 doing it.
Wow.
If that's what you wanted. So they do have that available currently, so we'll see if that makes it.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's good, though. I like that.
Yeah, definitely can't wait to see what they're going to allow us to play in closed beta, like test out some of these stuff. And definitely, like I said last week, and I'm probably going to stress every time, it's like when we're in closed beta, definitely hit the forums, give them their feedback. They're definitely listening. I mean,
Yeah, if you get into closed beta, anyone who's watching, don't just play the beta, like report the bugs and stuff, because it'll result a better game.
It's getting fixed,
Yeah. I think they're, like, again, this is my own interpretation, so I could be completely wrong, but I think the way beta is going to pretty much work is it's going to be very incremental, where they're like, okay, we're going to test this. Go have fun. All right, give us your feedback. All right, now we're testing this. Go have fun. Give us your feedback.
So there's not going to be just an open, go wherever you want, do whatever you want. You're basically playing the expansion kind of thing.
No.
Like, if you look at the size of the area we're likely going to be getting in this expansion, they could do the beta tests on a map-by-map basis and get them all done before the
I would
game.
say, and they very much did that with the beta for Guild Wars 2. Like, they didn't, like, originally they didn't have the Sylvari areas open or accessible.
But the problem with how they did it coming up to launch is that resulted in a lot of stuff not getting beta tested at all by the whole community. So when players got to those areas later on in the game, they were a lot more bug heavy than the starter zones were. But since this is a much smaller area, they might be able to,
more effective because it's a smaller target.
They might be able to community beta test a lot more of it.
It also matters on what kind of feedback that they get. If they get really good feedback, but the feedback happens to be, oh, wow, this isn't nearly as fun as we thought it is, we have to completely restructure this or that, that could change things as well.
I think that's going to be the feedback for adventures. People are going to be like, these aren't fun. They're going to be like, well.
I hope they'll be fun.
It looked like it from what we've seen so far.
I don't know. I thought a lot of people were having fun with it, but I think a lot of people are not used to it is the other issue.
Did you have any access to Adventures with the hands-on, Robin?
We did some events and things like that. So the cool thing was when I did the demo with Colin and Izzy, I was actually playing with Izzy, and then when we got to the open world, we were playing with people actually on the show floor, which was kind of funny to me because I was like, look at all these people, I have no idea they're playing with the dead right now. So that was amusing for me. But I don't think we did any specific adventure. We just did some of the events. We talked about how they would work, where they're putting in ladders and whatnot, and they'll be perpetual and maintain the highest person up. And that could become a thing, like compete against your guildies, or if you beat the all-time highest score for however that thing is scored, you get better rewards or whatever. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I can't wait to see them. Yeah, I can't wait to see them. I just hope they're implemented well, which, I mean, Arena overall has done a great job. I mean, I'm not...
I think Aaron was just scared away by one of the examples they gave us. Do a jumping puzzle in a certain amount of time.
Trust me,
you don't have to do them.
If they're there, I have to.
What if a mastery point is tied to it, though? Then I do have to do it.
Yeah.
Well,
and all
if
my
you
hair will
want
be colored.
all the mastery points, then sure.
Of course I want all the mastery points. Are you
Gotta catch
crazy?
them all. But, you know, you're talking about playing PvE. You also got a chance at trying the Revenant through the PvE. And you in the article, you were talking about hammer skills. And I think we all known about this. Like, the two that were representative there were the two legends that you got to play around with were Malix the Unyielding and Jealous Iron Hammer.
Yep.
How did they feel? Like, each of them?
Both they feel very different the way they play out. It's definitely a different feeling for both. Malix was a little weird because there's a lot where like you're trying to get conditions so then you can put them out, and like I think once you get used to it and you learn how to really maximize all the skills, that will actually be a ton of fun. But it was a little weird and a little overwhelming, like in that limited amount of time to really get into that. With the other one, Jalix, Jalix, did I just say that? All right, anyways, we're going on. Moving on.
You can combine them.
It's great.
By these powers combined. No. Jeez. Anyways.
Someone go make the character Jalix Iron Hammer the Unyielding. I think that's more than 19 characters, but...
We gotta lay off. I think we're gonna break her.
The thing
Jalix
about
Iron Yielding.
The thing about those skills was right now anything that needs to be aimed, you get kind of like a target thing that you then aim. This doesn't work like this. All of those skills were completely off of like the way your character was facing, and this is also true of all the hammer skills themselves. So like before you go to use the skill, you need to make sure you're lined up the way you want that skill to go, or else you're just going to completely miss what you're going for, which I think adds a lot of depth and interest to playing. Like you really have to pay attention to what you're doing. But I think it'll also be super frustrating for some people because like the example I gave is like, you know, there's a skill where you need to be further away because it does more damage further away. So I was trying to get away, but then I was like, oh wait, if I turn around, then my shield here is completely useless. It's not doing anything for me. So like having to be aware of those things, I think is going to be awesome. But I can also see how a lot of people will be probably frustrated by that.
So action combat people will love it.
Yes.
But yes. Arlie, you have to backpedal.
Or dodge backwards. That works.
Burn your endurance for dodging backwards.
Well, I was gonna say we all know about Legends and how they switch out the utilities. Now, I remember someone in Guild Chat was talking about this. Do they actually get utility skills, or just not as many, or if these Legends?
So right now, the way it's set up is you have just as many as you can have in those bars. And what you can do, they have the little arrows. You can switch around which ability is in which slot, but you don't, like, those are the only abilities you have with that legend. I did ask Colin about if, like, at some point they might grow that list so you can switch out and load it out more like a regular profession works with those skills. And he said that is a possibility in the future as a way to expand that. It could work that way, but they're just not doing that right yet. Like the same thing with only having 2 legends right now. Like there's going to be more, but they don't have it right yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do they work like kits or like attunements? Like, do you have to be in a legend, or are there actually?
You're always in
skills?
one legend or another. There's no way to not have a legend active. So
that's definitely interesting. So yeah.
So as of right now, that with the information that we know, skill points are effectively useless for a Revenant.
In this aspect.
As of right now.
Yeah.
Because as far as you're saying,
the way it is right now,
have nothing they can purchase.
Won't you have to unlock the legends though?
I don't know. I think so. I would
I
assume
imagine
so.
you'll have to.
Yeah.
that would.
I
Probably
bet that's what you
But-
use your skill points for.
Yeah, they had everything unlocked, so
But
I
still,
don't
that's-
know.
That's how many legends are they going to?
Well, you could say that they would make it worth enough skill points to fill out those bars.
Yeah,
Like,
they'll just
the
be
equivalent
expensive as hell.
amount.
They'll probably do that.
Yeah, they might be like if all of them cost like 20 each, maybe the legend is 100 skill points, and
Yeah.
that's just me doing easy math. I'm not saying.
Well, like you have to remember originally with skills, like you have to put so many into this level before you can get to the bottom. So like I
1,
think
3,
it would
6,
add
yeah.
up whatever
yeah,
that
some were
is.
like 2 points, somewhere,
Mhm.
and then like the elite ones were like 30. But that's I was just
yeah.
doing it for easy math.
Because you'll get 4 utility skills plus your elite
Yep.
with a legend. So, I mean, I could see them making it 50 skill points to unlock a legend.
Yeah.
But that would really handicap like new players who just created a Revenant. It's like, great, I'm stuck with whatever the default one is to like level 50.
Well, I guess, but like you still get the skill points as you're leveling.
But that's
and,
that's my only point is that right now, as of the information that we have, I'm not saying that it's not going to change.
Mhm.
Skill points are of less use to Revenants.
yeah.
As of right now, from what we know.
hmm
Well, and like you do get skill points as you level up, but like when I level up a character, I level them up doing pure map completion, nothing else. So I get quite a bit of skill points, plus the ones I get from just leveling up. And I still don't finish unlocking all my skills till after I've already hit level 80. So I don't know how fast the Revenants will be able
You
to
get
unlock
enough-
their legends.
Well, like if you should have enough to just get through all the tiers, right? Like you can
Yeah,
get
you
to the
can't
bottom,
unlock
but you
everything.
can't get all of them.
But like, since the Revenant will only if you unlock legends with skill points, of course.
Mhm.
If that's the case, then they'll be gaining variety to their gameplay a lot slower than other
Yeah.
professions will.
Which I think kind of makes sense in a way. Like I don't know.
Since they're
That,
so much more versatile.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that will work and it'll be fine for them.
Now, another question I had about the Revenant that I don't know if was clarified already: can you switch your legend in combat?
Oh, which one's active?
Yeah.
You can. So you have them slot, and you can switch just like a ranger switches pets. You can switch between them, and that's actually something that's a little bit overpowered, I think, because that then gives a Revenant 2 heal skills that they can use consecutively.
And you can do that like in combat, like while you're
Mhm.
fighting.
But that's
Yeah,
I
and
think
it
the
refills
swap-
your energy too. It gives
I
you
thought
back
it drops you to
50%.
50. It hard sets you to 50.
If you
right?
have more than 50, it drops you. But say like you're in one legend and you use up all your energy, you
Right.
switch and you're back up to 50.
Right, but I guess what I'm saying is, you're talking about using 2 heal skills. That's depending on what heal skills cost. You could swap, use your other heal skill, but I think the one for Malix requires you to have conditions on you for it to heal you for more. I think.
I think it heals base amount, and then if you
And
have
that has-
conditions, it does
Yeah,
more.
but that's one of the things is it's possible that if you want to do that double heal,
Mhm.
you might just burn yourself out on energy completely and also not get as much out of the heal skill as you could. So it's one of those
Yeah.
things where, yes, you could burst 2 heal skills.
Mhm.
Is it going to really be that useful?
But I mean, one thing I could see them doing to counterman that is possibly if you switch your legends in combat, they might have an automatic disable on the heal skill for.
Well,
I
they
think they
don't
have
currently.
Well, I was gonna say at the end of the day, we really don't know, and it's we're gonna run around in circles saying what if. I mean,
Yeah.
unless this is right,
of the show. That's the fun part.
if the
Well,
dev
it'll
wants to
be
come on and clear
interesting
things
which
up.
people get in and really can start theory crafting and figuring out like how to use things together and what makes sense.
Which
So
should
that-
be the reason why everybody should be more excited to definitely go into this beta trying to break Revenants, trying to so they can figure out how to not break them. Like,
Oh,
so-
one thing that was interesting is Colin said that he's found it really interesting. The feedback they've gotten from Revenants so far is a lot of the PvPers have been saying that they feel weak and there's not much reason to play them. Like they don't see why they would ever play a Revenant. Whereas on the other side, the PvE focused people are like, wow, these guys are really OP and everybody's only going to be playing them, which is a really interesting duality going
You
on.
see, I find that weird for PvPers because the Malix legend specifically, that feels like it would be so overpowered in PvP to me.
Yeah.
Oh, the one where you copy conditions to nearby enemies.
Yeah, and if you look at their utility skills, they get so much of the resistance boon, which makes you immune to conditions. That I just see that dominating in PvP.
Yeah.
But I'm
especially
not a PvPer, so.
PvP is currently condition heavy, right? And I think Malix has a skill that lets you pull conditions to yourself. So it's like, here, have all of your conditions back because I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think PvP it's versatile right now, leaning towards Condi. Like people like kind of tanky Condi in PvP, but you can, if you're good, you can kind of play whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, that is kind of interesting to see that that's such a split there.
I mean, and it could change once people get more time with the classes.
Exactly, and that goes back to something John was saying earlier in the week, how when he would watch streams of people who were actually, because they were streaming these people playing Revenant from PAX, and you'd have Twitch chat like saying, "Oh, you're playing it wrong, noob." It's like, we've had literally maybe 2 hours of experience with this class.
Yeah.
I remember that.
We don't know anything about playing it meta yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you read an article and watched maybe a couple people play it. Like, really?
It's got 3 trait lines. It doesn't even have all of the traits for the trait lines that are there right now.
Yeah.
It's got what, 3 weapons available?
Well, I was gonna say, the weapon of choice was the hammer.
And
Like,
then
how did that feel? Like I know a lot of people when it first started with hammer being melee a lot with a lot of the professions, a lot of people said you could definitely feel the weight and how it connected. Like, how does that resonate with the ranged ability of the hammer?
For me, it felt similar to playing a greatsword mesmer. Like, it was like, oh, okay, this is how a caster would use a hammer. It makes sense. It works well. It might not be satisfying some people who really like to be in melee and doing that, but I think it worked really well. I enjoyed it. It was interesting. And like I said, you had to pay attention a lot to what you were doing. So I like that aspect of it as well.
Yeah, I definitely can't wait to see, because I always thought that was the coolest thing when they did that with Mesmer with the Greatsword. I wouldn't in a million years thought to kind of do that, but
to give a greatsword to a caster,
yeah, and not
That's actually one of the things that really pulled me in during the Guild Wars 2 beta. I was like, oh my god, I can be a caster with a greatsword. This is amazing. So
I think that's why I'm probably gonna, because I've been running my elementalist with staff. I think I'm gonna go back to daggers, because it just felt better. And it's like, hey, I'm a light armor character, and by the way, I'm also a ninja casting fire and ice and all that good stuff. So, and then what was the other weapon set? It was mace, axe, main hand mace, offhand axe.
I think that's the one that's going to come into play in PvP, because that's like the Condi heavy.
Yeah, and
CC one.
It didn't even occur to me when I was in the demo to try to switch weapons, because I'm sure they were there, but I was just so overwhelmed with all the things and trying to take everything in that at the end I got done and I was like, I didn't even try the other weapons. So
I probably would have forgotten also.
Can I go again? No.
Well, actually, that was the funny thing. So I was supposed to do, they were going to run through Stronghold with me during the demo. And then, so Izzy came over to switch over the computer, and he broke the computer. So I didn't get to do it then. I had to go, and they put me at the front of the line on Sunday, and got me in to do Stronghold there.
Nice of them.
Well, I was gonna say, looking more at PAX and their booth in general, like what was the atmosphere on the floor like?
Oh, it was wonderful. Like the Guild Wars 2 booth was like this little oasis of just happiness and contentness and nice. Like it was like a really comfortable area to just hang out and be in. And like I was telling Deo earlier, all the devs were extremely generous with their time. They were really happy to talk to anybody. And were very personable and just really seemed to enjoy being there. Same thing with all the community staff who was there. Gail was there. She was really funny. They were doing trivia all day. I was kind of sad because one of the first rounds on the first day, I think there were a lot of people who maybe didn't play Guild Wars 2 much, or definitely not Guild Wars 1. one of the trivia questions was what was the name of oh gosh, now I can't remember his name.
King Alburn.
Alburn.
This broke my heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the name of his son? And like, you know, me and it's like two of my guildies who were there were like, oh my gosh, guys, and nobody knew the answer. We're all like come on.
Teacher.
I feel bad about that because like I didn't even get to play much of Guild Wars on, and I'm like, that's Rurik.
Yeah.
Guys, come on.
I felt bad because we designed a whole event around it where people had to run their trail.
Yeah, I remember that one.
I won that event, for the record.
Oh, yeah, I just want to make sure that gets out there, right, Aaron?
Somebody in chat, just not to go back again, was saying that they hope they'll have a lot of weapon choices. I think they'll have just as many weapon choices as the other classes. They just haven't revealed that yet.
Well, to be fair, you
I
say
think
other classes, and I think engineer.
Yeah, I think they'll have less because they don't have weapon swapping, and the classes that don't have weapon swapping have less weapon choice. So I think we'll actually see less weapon choice for the Revenant.
Well, it's gonna be weird.
Weapon swapping? I thought they did.
No, they can't. Revenants can't weapon swap, can they? I don't believe
Aaron's
so.
getting a gold star. I'm not sure. That's the one thing I have not tried to analyze. Like, I've been too busy looking at everything else with Revenant and the new shiny stuff. I'm just like, I have
I'm
not.
pretty sure they don't get weapon swap. Chat, look it up.
Does anybody in chat?
No, because I remember when all the demo footage was coming out, people actually had to go into the hero panel to equipment to swap out the mace and axe. So they don't have weapon swap, but I think the legend swap is on a similar cooldown. So it's like the 8-second.
Yeah, it'll probably be like a 2 minutes or.
So, yeah, it's like it's like a elementalist and engineer. So
Chad is saying they can't weapon swap. So yeah, that's one thing I haven't actually even bothered to look at. So yeah.
Yeah, I could see them getting maybe more weapons because I think the NG has what 4 or 3, yeah, and the elementalist.
And then they'll
has
get
4.
one more for the specialization. So
yeah. I could see the Revenant getting a little more because they don't have the freedom to swap out their utilities one at a time, so that could give a little more leeway for a few more weapons on their part.
Definitely.
But I mean, once again, talking about PAX and the, like you were talking about, you saw, what do you think the ratio of like maybe new players that never tried or maybe tried once or twice? Like, did you notice? Like, was there a new wave coming in?
Oh, there definitely was. There were a lot of people who hadn't played before, and like this was their first look at Guild Wars 2. There was also a lot of people who played like when it first came out, and then it stopped playing and were trying the demo to see what was new. So there was a lot of that. I think this is going to be a really good moment for them to get a lot of people back and to get a lot of new players. It was amazing the number of people who'd never played before. I was actually surprised.
Yeah, I've been surprised looking on stream, like with the more recent like 75% off deal that they had last week during PAX. Like I've seen a lot more streams pop up. Like I've never played an MMO, or this is my first time playing Guild Wars 2. Or, and I've been trying to hop in there and actually just like maybe even help them out that way, because a lot of them were like. And this is the actually surprising thing that I'd like to talk if we had more time, but it just seems like this person that never played an MMO, it didn't seem like the new player experience was helping them. So
yeah.
But I mean, if you just bought Guild Wars 2, 75% off, last week, or have just bought it regular price or whatnot, we have a guild for you. It's GameBreakerNation.com. It's not just a Guild Wars 2 guild. So if you're worried about maybe you play multiple guilds, you can see up there, we have the Elder Scrolls Online, Final Fantasy XIV, Minecraft Community, World of Warcraft. I believe that's both Horde and Alliance. We've gotten a Elite Dangerous group up and running. We're looking towards Star Citizen. We just keep growing members like you. So definitely, if you're interested, try it out. Each game does like multiple events and whatnot, and it's really fun. And the nice part is, if you're looking towards another game, more than likely, if it's a bigger title or even some of the smaller titles, we're probably having a group, so you don't have to do that whole stressful thing of like, oh, I gotta go search for a guild, and like, does it fit my play style? a lot of great, friendly people. It's pretty much the playstyle stays constant throughout all the games. So definitely head on over to GameBreakerNation.com and check us out. Also, I think one thing that was making us run a little bit late while we were messing with GoToMeeting frames was GameBreaker TV's deals. They, I think the one was, what was it, 75% off?
68% off.
68% off for a GTX.
That's impressive.
960.
960, yeah, thank you. That is insane.
That's a deal. Yeah, that's the deal.
And these are time sensitive, so definitely keep checking them out. You can check out the site if you go to GameBreaker.tv. There's a deals section at the top, or there's just things keep going. Like I saw an MMO gaming mouse there about like a week ago or so. Yeah, you can see it as we're scrolling through it. Like just definitely there's been a lot of great deals lately, and like I'm probably thinking about picking up maybe that graphics card. That's really, really nice. I mean, I think
that's $200 for a $600 card.
Yeah,
basically.
it's
almost $700. So, yeah.
I mean, that is an amazing deal. But
if I had $200 to spend right now, I probably would have bought it.
Yeah, that's the only problem is the actual money. Even like if I was looking for a graphics card currently and that is there, you know, if you know anybody that's looking for a graphics card, point them in that direction. I mean,
yeah, I'm gonna check back for it when I get paid.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's still there. That way your computer won't die when we do world bosses.
And I think they even hinted at like the expansion, like the new areas are going to be a little more robust. Like it's going to be a little more taxing on computers, you know. So maybe you have to.
I think that's going to just be inherently because of the increased verticality of the new maps. You're just going to have more stuff going on in an area around your character that's being rendered by the camera, so you have to.
They're also using some new technology with like the effects and stuff that are going around.
Wait, Aaron raised his hand.
Oh, I was just gonna be
Yes,
like,
Aaron?
Speaking of the new maps.
Oh. Well, unfortunately, we're not going to be talking about the actual maps in PvE, but at EGX that's going on right now, Guild Wars 2 once again had a presence, and they were focusing mostly on the new Borderlands maps. And they're referring to them as the Desert Borderlands, and they're replacing the Alpine ones, which are the ones that we currently have, which I'm sure if you played World We World, you're familiar with. They're the ones surrounding Eternal Battlegrounds. They're not the center thing. They're the mirror images, the copies of them. And I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen the videos or whatnot, or they've actually had a panel earlier today where they talked more about it. A lot of interesting things. They're really pushing that idea of keeping things closer to your keep, which they're referring to as shrines. And basically, a shrine is an area. If you hold it, it'll give special bonuses to your keep and the surrounding area. But the interesting thing is shrines, they will grant a 5-minute buff upon interaction, regardless of if you control it or someone else controls it. And they said the buffs are movement speed, and depending on the shrine, a 10% damage bonus, a damage reduction, or increased critical strike, and that's depending on which ones. I mean, what do you guys think about that? That like even if you secure the thing, people can still take advantage of small little things from other sides.
I'm okay with that, because that means that you would have had to move beyond enemy lines. Like, you're already deep in, so having some other kind of minor sustain going on. Also, I just want to point this out there. I was right, yay, that they're replacing the maps. So, you know.
Well, they said that they were looking at possibly doing it. They're not sure how they're going to... They want to, you know, not forget about the Alpine maps. They're going to look to maybe doing it a map rotation or just bring it back for tournaments. But they have no... They're not sure of what they want to do with it yet.
I don't know, guys. Those maps are real boring.
Yeah,
So-
that's why I want them replaced, because they're flat and they're boring. So,
That's kind of what I was thinking. Like, oh, so you're bringing it back for a tournament to punish us?
I definitely didn't think they would totally replace them, but it looks like they are. So I'm not complaining. I think the new maps look awesome, and the current ones are boring.
And yeah, the shrines. I think there's 3 in each of these areas of the new Borderlands, and the Borderlands are separated by the Air Keep, Fire Keep, and Earth Keep. And it definitely seems like they took a page out of maybe what they learned from the Edge of the Mist, which is, I liked, but it became farmable. And I have seen people in the past say, oh, it's going to turn into Edge of the Mist where people farm. And it's like, I don't think the World Orders are going to let that happen. Like,
Yeah, if these are the main Borderlands maps, which they are, people aren't going to go for farming all the time.
Yeah,
So
no,
that's not something we'll have to worry about.
Yeah, especially like Edge of the Mist is just so freaking massive that that's kind of why it almost feels like they were trying to replace the Borderlands with how big it is. Because it feels like it's the size of all 3 Borderlands maps combined.
Yeah, I still think, like, just aesthetically, Edge of the Mist is one of the coolest maps they've put in the game.
I agree.
But
Yeah.
it's just, since the score doesn't pertain to actual WW, it's
Yeah.
What is it? The only thing that you get out of Edge of the Mist is bonus supply in your Borderlands keep?
yeah,
yeah.
So, yeah. That's
which is
why
negligible at best.
yeah. Which is why
But I think-
it started getting farmed, I guess.
I think what's interesting, and they really talked about, was when you control these 3 shrines, it increases like the special benefit each of the elemental keeps get. Like the Air Keep, for example, if you control 1 shrine, you get jump pads. If you control 2 of them, you get bird statues on narrow passages that actually will blow gusts of wind. Like if the one thing that struck my mind was the fractal, the mist, running up those small little narrow wooden planks on the Colossus.
Yeah.
You just get knocked off. And then 3 shrines, no fall damage, which is definitely interesting because, that helps your allies.
Oh my god.
But they use the example of, jumping up off a tall cliff and surprising people. Yeah, if you jump off too of a high cliff, what if someone captures that 3rd shrine and you lose the buff?
No, because this is what Tavik was saying in TeamSpeak like a week ago, as he was talking about getting everybody with the fall damage traits along with the runes of the snowfall, because you could totally run like a kamikaze like bomber squad and just have people jump off the temple to defend it and just drop down on top of the Zerg and everybody's knocked down, and then you Zoidberg your way out and go back up to the top of the temple and come back.
Yeah, these shrines are definitely Ruins 2.0. They do the same, like they're the same as Ruins. You capture them, and Ruins currently they give us a buff, Borderlands Bloodlust, which these now there's more variety to the things we're capping. There's more variety to the buffs we get from them, but essentially they're Ruins 2.0.
Yeah, which Ruins were a great idea. I really loved the implementation when they put them in. They didn't take
They
them
don't
apart
do enough.
Yeah.
No one caps them because they don't give world XP for capping. If they did, people would do them all the time.
Yeah.
Which
What-
bet big
out of
shrines will give you world XP.
Out of
though.
3 keeps, what one's your favorite? Like the Fire Keep, Earth Keep, or Air Keep?
Fire.
I actually like, I don't know if you guys saw this in the trailers, but the undead looking keep that I think they referred to as the Lich one.
Oh, it has a Lich Lord in it.
Yeah. That's the one I thought was cool.
Yeah.
That's not a player one, but I thought that
I
was
personally
awesome.
like the Fire Keep just because. Yeah, I like the Fire Keep just because the 3 shrine bonus. It's like fire immunity, and they were like, just walk into the lava and start pulling people in. I'm like, oh, that sounds fun. Like, come on and play, guys.
Well, Deo, that goes perfectly with your Volcanus.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna come out of the lava with Volcanus and just be like,
Guardian at Greatsword 5, and you pull everybody into the lava, and then you swap the staff, you put the wall down so they can't run right out.
Okay, can I play right now? End of the show. Wait, it's not up yet. Darn. But yeah, it seems like like, what was it? 3 of us like Firekeep. Malthanis, did you? Or Malthanis.
That's okay. I answered to that too.
Of the keeps, I think the Firekeep was my favorite too, just because of the underground part.
I didn't get a chance to see the video, so I just going by everything we have here for the buffs that are going on. I'm a huge fan of the Airkeep, if only because I like the idea of Tavok's fall damage bomb squad. So I'm going to go for that. And
if you haven't seen the videos, what the Firekeep kind of reminded me of at first glance with like, Jim has a wife. But what the Firekeep reminded me of with those lava troughs that are going, here and there, is the Mines of Isengard from the Lord of the Rings movies. That's the impression I got from the Firekeep.
Yeah, I can see that. Wait. Oh, great.
I mean, ultimately, they're doing a good job. Like, I don't World that much, but it sounds fun. It's if they want people testing those, I'll hop in.
I imagine if you get into the closed beta, there will be at least some, time in it where they allow us access to these maps.
Yeah.
It depends on how they do it in the end.
I'm still thinking they're probably going to announce some more changes just to how World versus World fundamentally works. So they'll definitely need to test that stuff out.
Well,
yeah, I think they.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I think they mentioned they might change how the reward progression works too to fit more with the mastery system.
Well, as I say, speaking of testing things out, this past week we were supposed to get a camera instability patch, but it got delayed. And luckily, I think it was like the night before, the community manager, Gail, she posted on the forums and just let them know that it wasn't going to come out, and they found an issue at the last minute and wanted to test it some more. And it seemed like a lot of people were very understanding about it. And I mean, are you happy that they didn't just launch it and were like, oh, hey, we don't know what the bug was. It could have been a very game-breaking bug, and they couldn't launch it. But
well, it was interesting to me. So I talked to Colin and Izzy Saturday morning, right in the first thing, and in that interview, Colin specifically said that the camera instability patch would be out in a couple of weeks. So, like, when they then made the announcement on Monday that it wasn't coming out, I was like, did anybody think it was coming out? Because I'm confused.
yeah,
well, I think a lot of people thought it was coming March 10th, and I hadn't been able to find that written down anywhere. So yeah, exactly. So I was like, well,
I have no idea where it came from.
Oh, I swear I've seen it, but maybe it was just okay.
It wasn't written anywhere on their website.
Oh, then then it wasn't supposed to be March 10th. You're all all right.
Maybe people were speculating, and then that's why Gail made the post to be like, no, it's not coming.
Yeah, I'm all for them only releasing stuff when it's ready. Like that's especially something as big as like a stability change. The camera, I would be totally cool with for them to release whenever. I don't care if they stick to a schedule on that, because that's something that can just kind of come out and not be a problem. I mean, there are people who might not even notice it if it comes out.
And I mean, this kind of leads into maybe like our next topic of maybe this wasn't supposed to come out, and they're just announcing more stuff for this. Looks like a feature patch almost. I mean, because they said with the next patch in this article, World v. World no longer required for map completion. So if you don't know, if you want to go for a legendary and not just straight out buy it, you have to, while crafting a legendary, you have to have Gifts of Exploration, which are, you get 2 for 100% completing the map. And that usually required World v. World. I mean, are you guys happy of the change? And
okay, so after extensive research on this subject.
By extensive research, we mean that he has world completion on 8 characters.
I can confirm without a shadow of a doubt that this change is in fact awesome. So you have confirmation, folks. This is a good change.
Yeah. I think it's good for everybody because like World versus Worlders didn't like having a bunch of people who didn't care about like actually doing anything. They just wanted to get their completion. They were a problem for them. And a lot of the PvE people who wanted nothing to do with PvP or anything that even remotely resembles PvP were always upset that they had to go in and do it. So it's all around a good thing for both people.
I just hope that before they do it, I literally have one Vista left in the Eternal Battlegrounds. That's Veloca Slope, the one behind it, because I have Veloca Slope, the point of interest for the tower, but I do not have the Vista that's behind it.
Did you just forget to do it or something?
It was probably back when I was running around in Eternal Battlegrounds and I wasn't caring about world completion, so I was sticking with the Zerg. So I was trying to stay with them, and I didn't have time to run up behind the tower to take the Vista. So, and we're not red this week, so I have to wait for us to take it. And I think we actually went back up against, because we're on Yak Spend, and we've been bouncing between gold and silver teams, and I'm pretty sure we're back up against gold this week. So I don't know how well that's what my chances of getting the Vista is this week. So I don't know when that's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of not having it. Like, I see some people in chat are saying they'd never stepped into World v World if it was like wasn't for the map completion requirement, which. And I think that's what Arlie was saying is that is kind of the problem is there's these PvE, there's PvEers going in there and just filling up the queue, whereas, let's get the people that want to play World v World in there, which, I agree. And
which, I mean, yeah, sure, some people would never have tried it, and, like, that's a downside because there's some people who like it but never would have tried it. But I think overall, big picture, it's going to be better.
Something that Tavik brought up a good point of in chat is that you still need to hit rank 14 to get the Gift of Battle if you want to build a legendary. So for you talking about people who like,
you can actually do that through all PvE.
Really?
Yeah.
You can buy with laurels.
You can buy world XP with laurels.
You can buy enough, to get rank 14.
Okay.
But although
it would be like you can literally do it in like a few hours if you hang out with a Zerg. It's not. True. It is so much easier to just go into
especially if you have those XP boosts.
Yeah. And you get a ton of WW XP boosts when you're just running around getting the rank ups. But it's
isn't that the problem? You're like. It's for a legendary. It's like how legendary you were in World v World for 20 minutes.
It's one of those things where at this point it's kind of this is another aspect of the game is like you have been touching nothing but PvE. You have to get rank 14 in World v World, which is, like I said, not difficult if you go in and follow a decent sized Zerg for a bit. But maybe you now find out that you like World v World. And you're still going to build your legendary, but now you've found this entire game mode that you actually really enjoy. So it's not so much you're legendary at World v World and you get your Gift of Battle. It's a breadcrumb that leads you into World v World that it's like, hey, you might like this. If not, we're not going to keep you here for too long.
Well, and I want to hear chat's opinion, final thoughts, yay or nay on the, world completion not involving World v World.
I don't think anyone is miffed about this change. There's no one in the world.
The only thing
about this change.
I will be slightly miffed if I can't get the map completion rewards and then it goes away. Like that's what I'll be slightly miffed about.
You're gonna be mad if you can't get your couple of greens and badges of honor,
and possibly a black line key. But hey,
yeah, that's true.
Robin, yay or nay?
I think it's great. Yay.
And I'm for it in the end of removing it. I'm not a fan of it.
And I would like to add an
addendum.
Sorry. To add an addendum to my statement, it is only because I have literally one thing left to get. That's it. That is literally the only reason I would be slightly miffed.
Ninja patch.
Well, we are running out of time as usual. I'd like to thank all the guests today for showing up and joining us in this excellent conversation. I'd like to thank chat for coming out, and it was fun getting people's opinions and corrections for us. Aaron, where can you be found on the internet?
I write Guild Wars 2 things at guildmag.com, and I'm on Twitter at guildwarsmonk. It's down there.
Fantastic. Jim, where can you be found?
I can be found at MalfanisMMO on Twitter.
All right. And Robin, where can they find you on the internet?
I am found at Arlie82 on Twitter, Arlie82 on Twitch when I stream, and I write for GameBreaker.tv, and I think that's all the things.
And you can find me at Twitter, Twitch, YouTube at simply_Deo. Probably look more to the Twitter and Twitch. I'm probably going to stream more than I YouTube. But you can find us all at GameBreakerNation.com. As I said before, we're not just the Guild Wars 2 guild. We have Final Fantasy, Elder Scrolls Online, World of Warcraft, Star Citizens ramping up. We have an Elite Dangerous group going, League of Legends, so much more. We keep growing members like you, so head on out, and we, as always, we will see you in the game. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.